Hey, I'm Sam, and welcome to the Wooden Ladder. Actually, right now, welcome to our caravan. Welcome to our life. Welcome to our story. Welcome to whatever this is. We are undergoing something that is so epic that we decided that it was worth sharing. And so, welcome. I guess we're sharing in part because we want to remember all of these moments and in part because it truly is epic. Both of us are in our early 60s, and we have just embarked on a significant, what most people would call downsize, although we're just calling it a preparation for the fulfillment of a lifelong dream, a lifelong vision. We have sold our 5,000 square foot old church that we lived in, that was our home, our old, on a couple acres with some outbuildings. And we have purchased a few acres in the outside of Vancouver to be closer to our family. And in the process, right now, we are living in a 32-foot caravan. That's what they call it in the UK, and we like that better than trailer. So, this is our story, this is our journey. And I thought I would start with, where did we come from? What Who are we? Who are these people anyway? So I'm going to show you our house story. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk through a slideshow. And then at the end, I'll tell you why we're calling this the wooden ladder. And in the meantime, I invite you to follow us, like, share. We are inspired by what we're doing, despite the fact that it's a ton of work and you wake up and you kind of pinch yourself. Sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, this is real. And then sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? So either way, we invite you to follow us, like and subscribe and share this epic journey. We will be designing and building a new home. We are not planning to stay with our stuff in sea cans and portable shelters and this 32-foot caravan for too long. But we have a new grandchild and a whole new life, a new business, home and garden network of communities. And so lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. When a lot of people think you should be just retiring and meaning unproductive, we are anything but that. So let me share my screen and stay tuned to the end, and I'll tell you why we call this the wooden ladder. And here we go. We go. This is where we started, and hopefully that's not in the way. There we go. Okay, this is where we're coming from. I'm going to take you through a lot of pictures of what we call the church house, because we thought this was going to be our dream home. It was abandoned. There had been some squatters at one point. Lots and lots of stuff. The church had vacated it about 15 years before we purchased it. And our intention was to go there and to set up a retreat center and a garden center. And that was it. That was where we were going to stay. So we moved in lock, stock, and barrel and started the reno. So, it really was a truly magical place when I show you inside. It was absolutely spectacular, nestled in the mountains, beautiful view across the street. The weather was, the sky was always changing. It was just gorgeous. We had a couple times a year a nice double rainbow. And I'm going to start it at Christmas, though, because we knew that this past Christmas would be our last year in the church house. Our daughter and son in law were going to be moving back to the coast, 5 hours away, and they would be having a family. And we would be the only family not there. The rest of our family is on the island. And we were really, the best times we had at the church house were with our family and our closest friends. And so when she said, would we move? We both said yes, not even really knowing for sure that that was a question, but would we move? We said yes. And then we hung up the phone and went, oh my goodness, what have we done? Took us about a month to kind of get our head wrapped around it. This was a year ago. And because we knew that this would be our last Christmas in the church house, the last Christmas with our daughter and son in law, I spent about 3 weeks decorating. And part of that was because to pull everything out and to sift and to sort, because we didn't know where we were going to go at that point. but we knew that we needed to be culling. And so we did a lot of that. And at the same time, we also really wanted to celebrate where we had come from, where we were, and just really enjoy that time together. So, this, if you can see it, was this magical place that we called the church house. And this is where we're coming from. And I'm going to show you a lot of Christmas pictures because, in part, we want to remember it, and in part, because I just last couple of years ago completed a lifelong passion with a certification in interior design. And home and gardens have always been our thing. And we are now developing a home and garden network of communities. And this is our life. This has been our vision together. And I didn't realize I was going to get so emotional. Um, Here it is. This was Christmas. It was very magical, complete with the puzzle. Down here, if you can see my mouse. Okay, the fire heat the whole building. We had electrical heat, but the fire was obviously the heart of the home. And this was actually kind of an accident. I decorated one of those three trees we called the forest with disco balls. And when the sun shone in, then what you got was this complete smattering around the ceiling. It was just spectacular. And those are acoustic tiles. So when we play the nice soft music in the background, that was actually a squeak on the floor, I think. But in any case, it was magical. The neighbors always had lots and lots of lights and beautiful, beautiful canopy of stars. The rain, the rainbows. It didn't look like much from the road. It was just a big box. But inside the box is what we took this very, I don't know what you go, I don't want to call it dead looking, but a very somber looking building that was dirty and um, more or less abandoned and abused. And we obviously gave it a paint job and freshened it up. We had intentions to do great renos, but we started with this, and we did all of the magic inside. And then we weren't sure because we really missed our family. And you could see it was cold and it was dirty and it was grungy and there was not really a lot of life in it. And yeah, it was creepy when we moved in. People go, well, how did you do that? Even our blind deaf dog that didn't bark much when she was a puppy would wake up in the night and go, ruff, ruff. But later on, when people would come to visit us, they felt the ambiance, they felt the peace, they felt that that embrace, and that is where we're that's our vision. We brought in heart. We started off with hanging it on the outside and then bringing the spirit inside. We have a huge collection of heart-shaped rocks, and all of those have come with us to our new property. Actually, there's still a few there that until we vacate completely. We brought in a lot of cleaning, a lot of I don't know how else you describe it, but we also had fun. A lot of go.
Ta-da! Woohoo!
We had come from our friend's basement suite in a very small place, which is bigger than where
Backflip.
we are right now.
No!
But it was so refreshing to have the space. And we have the space here outside, not inside. I'm afraid I'm going to bump something. But the kids came, and because we had to get rid of garbage, like there was just so much heaviness. The energy was really thick and prickly, and like I said, was the dog even growled a little bit in the night. Um, Cobwebs and black soot and just everywhere. The green carpet from the original from the 70s. Not sure what those black curtains were. We had no idea. We were heavily involved in the church at the time. We are no longer really active, but we just started to resurrect life into this place. Although at the same time, there was the destruction because there was practical things we needed to get at the ceiling to do electrical and plumbing and various things. So that we our son-in-law is very tall, so he helped tear down the ceiling tiles, and that's where we moved our stuff in. And we later had much life in this place that we called the underground studio. This was the original fellowship room in the church, and just started moving in the life, moving in the light. And at the time, we still had our puppy, our dog. Um, Died under a double rainbow, actually, at the church house. And I don't know how many dump runs we did. It was an awful lot, let's just say. Get rid of all of the garbage and move it in. And there was a lot of mixture. And I'm sharing some of this because the energy of a place is your life. This is where you are most intimate in your home, and clean. Those fans were black with soot when we first moved in, and then we replaced them with some really beautiful wooden um, silent ones that ran 24/7. It was gorgeous. And then started the process of taking out the carpet, just taking out the grunge, taking out the grime. We painted the floor because underneath the floor, underneath the plywood, was 1 by 6, 1 by 8, and 1 by 10 solid fir. And at one point, we had a vision to uh, really renovate the building and to have solid fir floors. But in the meantime, we decided that we would paint, and it turns out that stayed there. And you can see at the front what eventually got done, but we just had to move the furniture, paint. The royal we. Joe is the star of this show, and added a fresh color. That color is actually called pearl, pearl something. And it really felt like you were in a cocoon when you were there. Our orange chairs from Joe's family became our special place for meeting and planning. And you can see he looks pretty tired. He works very, very hard. Um, the furniture was left behind, but we just did it. He put on his hazmat suit and sprayed everything, and yeah, we had fun. I'll just run through a couple pictures. We knew we were going to need some extra space for doing the reno because it is all one building or one room. So we bought a sea can, and it turns out that sea can actually now holds all of our stuff. We moved it here to the new property. Um, but it was good. And the sea can that had our small sea can that had our stuff from when we left Victoria was unpacked, and we were all very excited to take the land. Joe started painting outside to give a fresh coat. Um, it wasn't intended to be a long term paint job, it was just to freshen it up, to bring in the new spirit. And this was all done in the first few months of us being there. Um, got a tractor so we could do some yard work. Oops, I missed the kids, but we had good time. Video. Oopsie. On the tractor, on the lawn tractor. There's a lot of pallets behind. You can see just more garbage. This is not garbage because we were heating primarily with the wood stove. We got a logging truck full, and that's just more work. Bucking it up, bucking it up, bucking it up. We had a log splitter, stacked it. I don't know how many cords we had, but we had family and friends who had come to visit and to help, and ripped out the front, which was really the biggest and only real renovation we did besides cleaning. But it was pretty spectacular, as you can see in the after pictures, but a lot of work that you don't really appreciate until you see some. We go back and see some of these pictures. There's the beautiful beams that were there. And then season by season, right? Snow, wood, lots and lots of work. And fun. Always fun. Here we go. And I helped sometimes too. I did. I really did. But this, come on. Joe, he's the star, and I'm just going to keep saying it because he does so much work, and we couldn't do it without him. Not only does he do all of this work, and he's really creative, but here we go. He builds with our toboggan runs, because the best times were when we were sitting around with family having a fire. We had so many fires outside, it was amazing. And invited the friends in. Joe would do the cooking. He's actually a chef by trade, and so big spreads. And our underground studio, as that fellowship room became, was full of, we did yoga and dance and kids' birthday parties and corporate events. And it was a beautiful, beautiful space. Studio underground. But a year ago, it was time to take all of those hearts and start to move them. And so we started off in the winter time, just put the word out. A couple developers we were speaking to, we set up our own little, what turned out to be a thrift store. It's like, we got to get rid of some stuff. So we put it in the portable, just set up some shelves, and it kind of turned into this, like our own, like I said, our own little thrift store. We got rid of a lot. And we were open almost every weekend for a long time. And we put stuff online and we just kept selling stuff. And it was wonderful because we connected with the community. But there you go. It was time to say goodbye to our beautiful church house with the rainbows, where we knew we were covered and we were protected. And all the winters and all the hard work, but to enjoy it. And we shared it one last time with some guests. Certainly our treasured guests were our family. So these pictures are close-ups of that Christmas, because I'd never done 3 weeks of decorating just for family. I'd never done it just for us before. It was quite a magical moment. You don't realize all the blessings and all the treasures that you have until you pull them all out. And we were fortunate enough to have the space. And many of these things have actually been sold now. Some of them have been sold to move on to be treasures for other people. Many of them are packed up, and we'll see them again, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, however long it takes us to design and build our next house. But the magic is there for sharing. And our family and our life is here. We have wonderful friends back there. We love the home. I don't know what's going to become of it now, but as we empty it out, doesn't look like this. The heart is in the people. The heart is in the magic that you make of your place and your space. And so it gave us a whole new appreciation for the energy of a space, and how you turn that into something that really is full of life, and where you can just relax and be real and experience the blessing. And it doesn't have to be big. We were fortunate enough to have this wonderful space, and we're very fortunate to have this tiny space as well. And so, just like the dollhouse that got unpacked for the first time in 18 years this Christmas, all the little miniatures, all the little memories, and all the little details, everything at some point goes back in the box. So here we are. We've been moving stuff out. I think we're about to make our 6th trip. That'll be the subject of our next video, is how did we actually homestead? Because there wasn't a place to move into. We had a raw field here. And all of this somehow got moved. But it's not the first time we've done this either. We had a beautiful home in Victoria. It was over 100 years old, and lots of renovations. And that was a gift from our neighbor across the street. Beautiful, beautiful place. And you say goodbye to the building and the memories and the energy that you bring to a place. It comes with you. It was our yard. We were always into home and gardens, and fireplaces seemed to be our thing. There's our puppy that came with us, our dog. Packed it all away, packed the treasures away, got rid of some, found new homes, moved it into our friend's suite. This was the small place I talked about before. We were so grateful to be able to expand. I lived in a 800 square foot basement suite with our dear, dear, dear friends for a while. And our daughter came home from university, and we had wonderful, wonderful experiences in this space. This was our Christmas that year. And Joe was still able to do his beautiful catering in that little space. And maybe it'll even happen here. You never know. He made his jerk sauce that he's been making since before we were married. Maybe that'll even here eventually make it to market to people other than just our friends. It's not really super spicy. It's a staple in our family. And all of that started here with this is our second house actually, but we had this house was featured on the Garden of the Week. I'm just going to show quickly the before and afters because we do fireplaces. The top is the before and after, obviously. This is where we started with this was our daughter's first bedroom. We're creators. We're all creators. And the building sold, our special church house. And we bought this property outside of Vancouver on a body of water called a slough. So the water moves, but very slowly. So it's not like a pond, it's not like a river. But there's where there's where we are. There's where we're setting up camp. There's an aerial view. Lots of greenery, lots of field. We will have a farm market garden. And in this overgrown field is currently where I am sitting. So this is what we started with. And that will be the subject of our next video is how did we actually do this? Joe cleared a spot so we could see some of the mountains and the water. It's just, this is where we pinch ourselves. Like, wow, here we are. It was beautiful in our last place, absolutely gorgeous. This is different. We have different birds, we have different sounds, and this is where we're living. This, our friends, our neighbors are really, really dear friends. Worked out for them, it worked out for us, but this was sitting off to the side on our church house, and it is now where I'm sitting right now making this video. And there's the field. This is where we begin. And there's the sea can from our last place coming here. Plus, we got another one that we're going to live in and out of. And I said I would share at the end why do we call this the wooden ladder? When we started collecting things, when we started and when we really became aware that we were interested in gardening and house things together and collecting old treasures, I saw at the side of the road an old wooden ladder. This was probably 25 years ago. And Joe was like, what are we going to do with that? Well, we got it. And then we needed a place to hang towels. And so he finished it. And then we kept finding them because Joe is quite a magnet if you ever need anything. So he has been collecting and refinishing and selling vintage wooden ladders for years, although we haven't sold that many because they were in storage when we were living in our friend's basement suite. And then where we were in the Okanagan, there wasn't really a market for them, and we ended up decorating the basement, the underground studio, with them. And now here we are. There's a lot, and they are absolutely gorgeous. I hang my scarves on them, and we decorated the fireplace, the front by the fireplace, and the stairwell going down into the underground studio. Ladders represent ascension. They always represent growth and moving up. And so they're functional. We use them everywhere, literally everywhere for blankets because they are so smooth. They did kind of become popular in decorating over the last few years. I hang my silk scarves on them and my towels and my blankets. There's the decorated wall of ladders. So why do we call this the wooden ladder? Because this was kind of our first collection. And because it does represent growth, it does represent moving up, it does represent, to me, it represents growth. And you could say climbing the ladder, but we are always moving up and upwards, onwards and upwards. And so, onwards and upwards, we have a new business, the Home and Garden Network of Communities, and a new home and a vision coming together for 30, it's been coming together for 38 years. So I'm just going to leave this new life. It's what we celebrate at Christmas in the Western world. We decorate our homes and we invite our friends and family in, and that's what we're doing. We're inviting you to come into our life and our home on this epic journey. I'm going to make these videos so that we remember them, and I hope they inspire you as much as it helps continue to ignite that fire within us, because it's tiring, and we're doing it all on kind of a, I don't know, you want to call it a. We sold our beautiful church house for considerably less than we anticipated, but we got the time that we needed to be here for the birth of our grandson, and the property that will enable us to fulfill and to live in this, to fulfill the vision that we've had the whole time we've been together. We've been married for almost 30 years now, together more than 30 years. And I'm just so thrilled. I love my husband to bits. We have a lot of fun. We work hard, but we keep dreaming. People say, why aren't you slowing down? Why aren't you downsizing? It's because, whoa, we have so much life to live. Slow down? The heck is that about? We're just getting going. So, oh, join us. Join us. Come on, let's gather some friends. Let's do this thing. There's so much to look forward to as we start our new life and as there's new life coming all around us. So, welcome to the Wooden Ladder. Welcome to the life of Joe and Sam. Stay tuned for the next video as I share 6 trucks clearing the fields, setting up whatever, from all the hard work that Joe's been doing. And then he had an injury and I have an injury, and so yeah, never a dull moment. You just keep going. Thank you for watching. What I didn't say is, in this space, the church house, this big giant great room, there's probably no more than 6 new things. We find things at the side of the road and we refinish them and we repurpose them, and that's kind of our thing: repurpose, refinish, reuse, renew. There, that pause was new. Mostly just with vent lights and things like that, but in terms of the furniture and the decor, we like rusted old stuff. Part of why it took so many trips to get us here, or it's taking so many trips, is because a lot of what we have is heavy. There was 30 some odd candles and plugs to get all this twinkles. Candles, including like real candles or battery powered ones. So a total of 60 or 70 things to turn on and turn off at the end of the day. And we did it sometimes just for the 2 of us. It kind of felt like we were being selfish. Until we had our party. Invited all our friends. It was very fun to share. And hence why I made this video. Share it with you. Hopefully you get some inspiration from it. Those are just bells and branches that I got from outside. Our daughter's artwork from when she was younger. The disco ball tree. No idea it was going to do that sparkle in the museum. I called this the forest, and the down below, those are Shonky. Shonky was originally part of a nativity that uh, Joe added onto that was left in the church house. And we had a donkey, so we wanted to make a sheep, and it ended up being a shonky, sheep donkey. And when we sold the nativity, our son-in-law and daughter said, "There's no way we could sell shonky," so we made another shonky, and so we have two shonkies, and they will be here with us. They are here with us. We'll pull them out somewhere when we start setting up the garden. Mhm. There you go. Dream big, dream often, and doesn't matter where you are. We're setting up this little space that's not even as big as our bedroom right now, and there's little little things that I brought to make the space what it is, and I'm so looking forward to sharing it. Um, okay, see you soon. Bye. Thank you for following.